So is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you. Just unmuting, just muting all of you so that there are no disturbances, and I'll unmute you at the end of the session. So friends, welcome to this session on the Teachers' Day. Probably the first time in the past 5 years I have been taking this session on the Teachers' Day itself. Luckily, it is on a Sunday. Initially, also this session was intended to be taken up yesterday only, but then I had certain urgent work cropped up, so I shifted it to today. But then, being a Teachers' Day, I thought it to extend this session to free group members as well. So let's begin the session. Lessons from a stock market crash. I would like to mention here that in last December 2020, I had taken up a session on financial lessons from the coronavirus epidemic. Again, that was a session around about 27th or 28th of December. I'd taken up 2 sessions back to back, one from 7 to 8 and another one from, I think, around 8:30 to 9:30 approximately. So one was the normal lessons from pandemic practice wise, clinic wise, and the next was the similar one from the coronavirus pandemic or the COVID-19. But this is something different. Of course, there will be a few overlaps in both the sessions, but what I've tried is that the content of both the sessions is different by at least 90%, 90. So the content of that is 90% different. Of course, you'll have so many things to take away if you pay full attention. And trust me, stock market does not necessarily mean shares. All the derivatives of stock market, like the derivative products or the commodities or even the mutual funds, even your bond market to an extent, maybe a limited portion. If so many things are related on the stock market. So yes, what exactly we can learn from it, what exactly we can do, because when there are highs, there are lows as well. So the only thing is we know about the crashes and still they happen and we are shocked. And that is the only thing I want to put across today, that yes, if we welcome the highs, we should not reject the lows. So let's begin the session by sharing my slides. All my presentations will always begin with thanking God Almighty, who's given me much more than what I deserve. So when it comes to finance, I have to thank my dad as well, who was instrumental in teaching me the clinical part of finance. So yes. So this is my brief CV. You all are aware of it by now. So happy Teachers' Day to all of you as well. Why? Because we all learn from each other. We all have a certain thing to give back to the society, give back to each other. No one is perfect, even I'm not. So I always keep on learning from different experiences that I have with colleagues, whether it is in the form of a group interaction, whether it is in the form of a questions in a webinar, whether it is in the form of the query session in my paid group sessions or in my workshops, lectures, whether it is in the form of my SWOT analysis sessions, whether in the form of FP or portfolio analysis sessions. So all these ways I keep on learning myself. So surely this is again a happy moment for all of us. So we all learn from each other. So this was a few lines in the morning from a group 1 member, Dr. Ajay Gupta, which really touched my heart. So he just wrote 4 lines impromptu. So I thought it well enough, prudent enough to share with all of you. So you are a teacher, you are a preacher, you are a speaker who gets out with his yorker. He knows that I play cricket. So you are a great human who rises with the rising sun. You are a guy who is selfless, who always gets us out of the mess. You are an excellent orator, aspire us to fly higher and higher. You are truly a godsend. Hope your teachings in this group will never end. Happy Teachers' Day, sir. So thank you, Dr. Ajay. Really touching gesture from me. One of the best things I've ever received on Teachers' Day, ever since I started sharing on various platforms more than 5 years ago. So this is our, you can say, session number, MPG webinar number 41, as I said, intended initially for paid group, but lessons from a stock market crash. The bottom line is volatility, up and down. Volatility means up and down in a layman language, is the inherent nature of the market. So don't be perturbed by that. Don't be disturbed by that. You need to remember these things very clearly. What goes up comes down, and what goes down will go surely up one day, sooner or later. So let me give you a brief history, not detailing about, because we'll be coming straight to the point. let's see just of the few of the historical market crashes. When I talk of the stock market crashes, I'll not be taking the Indian ones only, because Indian crashes started happening after, you can say, when the stock market came into being, more so impactful after the 70s, I would say. But yes, globally, the most famous one, which even is cited today in many of the literature, many of the sessions, is the 1929, the Great Depression, still known as the one which took about 6 years to recover. The 1946 postpartum World War II session, 1960 War, Cold War concerns, 68, the high inflation in the Vietnam War, the 1973 end of the Bretton Woods monetary system. So 1980 interest rate hikes and rise in unemployment. Of course, the global indices mostly in the US and the Fed based. 1987 introduction of computerized trading, bursting of the dot-com bubble in 2000, 2007-8, collapsing of the US housing market because of the high loans and causing economic recession. Strangely, India did not suffer much in this. Yes, whatever impact was there because of global, it was there, but it was not. Then the COVID-19 induced crash started more so globally, impacted India later. The global impact stopped after 2 weeks from 9th March onwards. About 23rd March it stopped. Ours continued till I think the second week or the first weekend of April. It continued till then. Then the recovery started. So obviously the global markets are linked, and markets work on sentiments. They don't work on logic. They don't work on any kind of, you can say, reasoning. They are just sentimental, emotional reasons. So you all saw the share. Ronaldo left Barcelona, and he just picked up the bottle of Coke, kept it aside, and the shares dropped. What was the logic and reasoning in that? Nothing. But this is the way the market has been growing and dropping both ways. So markets, the only thing is, as I said, what comes down will go up surely. So those who have actually weathered the storm, even I have been, you can say, witness to the 2012 partial, 2016 demonetization induced, and of course 2020. So been there, but the most famous ones globally and overall have been the 1929, 2007-8. India not impacted much in this, although it was there, and the 2020, which was a universal one. So the 2008 was one of the worst global falls in the US economy, because the Fed almost just collapsed. So it just did not affect the US economy, but in the economies worldwide. As I said, effects were there on India, but at that point of time, there was a huge parallel gray market, or you can say black market, or the black money market, which helped India survive. There was no Aadhaar card, there was no botheration of PAN card, nothing was under the income tax net. So even if somebody had a depression in their white money, they compensated it by their, you can say, accumulation of their black money. And trust me, even I can say till today, but in those times, the ratio of white and black was, you can say, 10:90. 90% was black at that time. Yes, with time, with the stricter laws coming in, these things are now decreasing. But yes, 2008 was basically due to the deregulation of the banking industry before 2004 in US. So as I said, the Fed really had a bad time. So this deregulation in 2004 actually allowed the deposits turned into derivatives in the US. So banks allowed only interest payment loans, which were affordable even for the subprime borrowers. So Fed increased the rates in 2004, due to which you can say the mortgage interest rates were also hiked. So when the housing properties started to fall in 2007 because of more of supply and less of demand, the people could not, who had actually bought it in the hope of, you can say, the economy growing and they making a good money in real estate, they actually had a reality check. They could not sell their houses, so naturally whatever they had loans, they started defaulting in that. And that is where the problem comes when you actually buy a loan to buy an investment. If your investment doesn't turn out to be good, what happens? You default on the bank loans. That is always say the golden rule of the market is never ever borrow to invest. That is one of the golden rules of investment in any sort of industry. It's not only the stock market or even in the real estate. This is the real estate example. But yes, it has a direct correlation with the banks. Indian NPAs started coming into notice more after 2010. But yes, they already used to be there before also. The banks used to be having a merger before. They used to be taken over earlier also. Lord Krishna Bank was taken over by SDFC. Centurion Bank was taken over by Bank of Punjab. That became Centurion Bank of Punjab, and ultimately both of them were taken up by SDFC again. SDFC had taken up one more South Indian bank. I don't remember the name of that bank, lesser known bank. So SDFC gobbled up all those banks and eventually turned into the biggest private bank. So this is the way. When the NPAs turn higher, the non-performing assets, or you can say the loans which turn bad. So this is the way the banks also have a loss. And when the banks report a loss, naturally their shares are bound to go down. And that is the way the market gets affected. So this is a scenario which happens universally. So accordingly, in the 2007-8, you can say the housing bubble burst, and US witnessed the second biggest recession of all times, and which continued for 4 to 5 years, ever since the 1929 Great Recession. Even the World War and the Vietnam War and the others one were also lesser ones, you can say. But this one, of course, was the one which actually literally stumbled US out of their blocks. So all crisis teaches us some lessons. Enough of the history part. So not singling out any, I will not single out. I will be giving the journal takeaways or the lessons from the COVID. So I just took up the history for 10, 12 minutes now. Let's straight away get to the lessons now. So the number one golden lesson is patience and perseverance in investing, which holds good for any sort of investors. If it was 1929, even it was in 2007, investors lost 30 to 40% of their portfolio's value. So as the markets start to crash globally, people begin to panic and they begin to book profits. And थोड़े से लोग profit book करते हैं तो थोड़े और कर लेते हैं, थोड़े और करते हैं तो बहुत सारे कर लेते हैं. And that is where the भेड़ चाल starts. No one was interested in getting a COVID vaccine. Initially, March, when the vaccine started for the general public, there was no rush at the centers initially. But then when it, you can say it became a necessity at all the workplaces, slowly you could see huge rushes everywhere. So people mindset cannot be actually predicted, but yes, there are many parameters controlling that. Similarly, in market, it works on the sentiment. If many people are selling, the market goes in red. So this is the reason people start booking profits, even at a throwaway price. But remember, if there is selling, someone is buying in the stock market. It is not like mutual fund where you can say you are exiting out of your units and you are contributing to the pie which you had bought a share of. You're getting back. For the shares to be sold and bought, a seller has to be there and a buyer has to be there. So always you can say, look back and analyze the causes, what led to the same. So basically, you can say the stocks which go down are fundamentally strong, but yes, the booking losses is something who actually have various factors. They might have taken loan to invest, so they had an EMI due, so they thought whatever comes in and let's grab that. Similar scenario. What was wrong in COVID-19? Nothing. The global, you can say, trends were scary initially. US, Italy, Spain, they were very scary. Even UK to an extent were scary. India, hardly any cases. When you can say the bubble burst or when the market started crashing. And even when the global had stopped by 23rd of March, our first lockdown Janta curfew was on 22nd March and our lockdown started on 24th. 1 or 2 days after the global collapse had stopped, or at least you can say it had bottomed out. But our collapse continued for 2 weeks after that. What was the reason for that? No reason, just the plain sentiments. And what was the result? Sensex from 48,000 came down to 26,000, almost half, 50%. One of the worst falls in recent times. Recent times means as long as I have been witnessing these since the past 20 years, if I may say so. Yes, I may not have been directly doing these 20 years back, but I was actually always intrigued when my dad used to do it. So I used to get the basics and then, okay, dad, aap kar rahe ho, koi baat nahi, I won't do it. So this is the way. I started much later in 2007, 8 or 9, you can say, properly, ever since my MBA in finance finished. So the thing is, patience always helps. Even if it is your clinic, even if it is your market. Investors who stayed put with the stock, you can say they were saved from booking losses. So it is crucial to understand what actually has led your portfolio to go down. So debt should be available to only extent you are sure to repay. This is not the scenario only in your market, only but in your clinic, in your personal life as well. If you don't have the capacity to actually pay back, you are relying only on your clinic income. Don't do that. The 2008 crisis also in the US, because bank had lent money to subprime borrowers who could not repay the installments repay the installments much later. And again, their mortgages again were based on the credit score. So the credit score were healthy, but yes, the credit score healthy does not mean one has a capacity to pay back. Somebody may have paid back just a small loan and the credit score would have been very good. So as an investor, you should be cautious about all the loans that you take, even if you can save. All of us receive at least one call each day. Sir, loan le lo. From anyone. Sir, gold loan. These days, I get a lot of gold loan offers from many banks. Bajaj keeps on calling doctor's loan. Yes Bank, HDFC. These are the prime, you can't say culprits, but because their major source of funding is through loans only. But then it is up to you. If the loan is easily available, does not mean that you have to take it. So on the other hand, you can say the institution should have a robust credit policy so that the NPAs don't occur. Yes Bank adopted this policy once they landed up in a big soup last March. So this is the scenario on the other hand for the other side. Yes, again, the government has to do something regulation about that. But then the third lesson is don't try to time the market. Only two people have the capacity to time the market, not people exactly. Only two can time the market. One of them is God and one of them is liar. Only these two people can time the market perfectly. But if you are not either of the two, don't try to do that. Because we always all wish that we buy the stocks when it is at the lowest and sell at the highest. Remember, whatever you have sold today, 2 months down the line, if the market is growing, that will be at a higher price. There will be there should be no regret. Because you needed the money, you took out the money. Or you given the money ample time to grow. There are mistakes many a time. But don't feel bad about it. मैंने उस वक्त ना निकाले होते 2 महीने बाद निकाल लेता कितने हो जाते. Did you know what was going to happen after 2 months? अगर 2 महीने बाद क्रैश होता है मैं देख कितना सियाना रहेगा मैंने निकाल लिया. This is the way you can pat your back or kick your ass. Both the ways. It is up to you only. But the thing is, you need to understand you can't do that. You can't time the market. So if you need the money, you have gotten the reason. If you have gotten what you desired for, कहीं की मेरी expectation जैसे होती है कि मेरा पैसा double हो जाएगा मैं निकाल लूंगा. Yes, if it has been growing exceptionally, if something has been doubling in 3.5 years, I'm talking of the mutual funds, not the stocks primarily. अगर मेरे को कोई फंड 3-3.5 साल में डबल दे रहा है and I have a SIP going on or maybe a lump sum done, so and I don't need the money after 3.5 years, I have the goal for 6 years doubling, I'll keep on the money, no problem. It'll grow on, or maybe I'll book the partial profit and let the remaining sum be growing. So it is personal wish. You never know. 6 years down the line from your initial investment, 3.5 साल पे आपका डबल था, 6 साल पे शायद आपका 2.15 times हो. Just 0.15 growth in the next 2 years, 3 years. Who can predict that? No one can. But yes, money does not grow in linear fashion. It does compound, but for that, initial few years have to be given. And initial few years of compounding are always boring. So always remember, stock prices are governed by various factors, various sentimental factors. अब तो मार्केट थोड़ी सी कंट्रोल्ड है. तालिबान में वॉर हुआ तो मार्केट क्रैश करनी चाहिए थी. पहले ऐसे रीजन पे भी हो सकता. I showed you the various crashes. Cold War and the risk of Cold War and the Vietnam crisis. That led to सिर्फ वो fear था, उस कारण क्रैश हो गया. These things have been happening in the past. तो तालिबान ने जितनी देर में there was a joke, जितनी देर में पुजारा ने 20 रन बनाए उतनी देर में तालिबान ने अफगानिस्तान पे कब्जा कर लिया. Remember an England India test match was going on at that time as well. So he was playing slow, but the Taliban were playing it really fast. Just a joke on the lighter side. But yes, you never know whether the current low is the lowest or where there is a possibility of lows further as well. You really don't know. You decide as per your judgment and don't follow the herd mentality. As I said, the best way is to have a financial goal. My goal was I needed double the money. I kept a time frame of 6 years. Obviously, these days, normal government investments are not going to double your money in less than 10 years. None of them, not even PPF. So remember, uh, you need to be very, very focused about putting, or you can say exposing some money to equity. A, a thought which I have been promulgating since you can say 3+ years now, to invest some portion of your money in equity. If you don't want all, if you don't want a risk taking thing, put it in a SIP mode that averages out everything. Again, diversification. Never put all your eggs in one basket. अगर सारा इक्विटी में ग्रो करना है तो सारे इक्विटी में डाल दो. रॉन्ग अप्रोच. Rebalancing, debt and equity have to be in a certain ratio. If you are 30s, even by 80 minus age or 100 minus age, your 70 or 50 should be going into your equity. But does not mean if equity is going, you put in 100 into equity, because the risk factor is there. The debt is there to balance out that whatever risk is there. The market starts crashing and you notice it that yes, it is going to be a longer fall, or maybe you get a hunch of that. You switch your portfolio to debt. At least the fall won't be drastic. Why to debt? Because the debt will not have a portion much related to equity exposure. It will be invested in the bonds, G-Secs or other things, which will be still a constant return. Maybe lesser one, 4 to 5 to 6 maximum. But the money won't drop stagnantly. प्रॉब्लम ये होती है कि जो आपका लेट सपोज 10,000 इन्वेस्ट किया है, 2 साल में आपका 20,000, यू कैन से 18,000 बन गया. द मार्केट स्टार्ट्स फॉलिंग, यू नो इट इज गोइंग टू फॉल, और यू विटनेसिंग इट. सो वो 17,000 पे आ गया आपका पोर्टफोलियो का वैल्यू, फॉर एग्जांपल, यू स्विच इट, गोज टू डेट, 17,000 आपका सेफ है, वो कम स्पीड पे ग्रो कर रहा है. वंस द मार्केट बॉटम्स आउट, यू नो नाउ इट इज कंसोलिडेटेड, नाउ इट्स ग्रोइंग, यू कैन अगेन स्विच बैक. This is the way you actually rebalance certain things as per the market scenario. But अगर आप equity में रहेंगे, yes, there is a way to that also. 100% or not that into the same. But वो आपका 18 था, 17 पे आपने कुछ नहीं किया, 15, 14, 13, 12 पे आ गया, इससे कोई बात नहीं, ग्रो कर जाएगा. Sometimes it takes many years. The COVID recovery of a crash was the fastest. Globally, 181 days. In Indian scenario, 7 to 8 months. That was the fastest ever. I'll come to that. But this is the way you can actually manage your money better, and you can say maximize your returns. So again, give some time to your investments. Don't make a decision in haste. Haste will always make waste. So just blindly investing because it is trending. And what is trending these days? Bitcoin, which is not a legal currency. I don't advise investing in that. Absolutely clear. So don't put in any questions to that in the chat box or in the session afterward. What is your view on Bitcoin? Whatever it is, way it is growing in a good way, I will say. Till the Indian government does not declare it a legal tender, I am not going to advise anyone investing into it. Yes, you may be booking profits, but remember, if you are entering at $45,000 entry level, for example, आपने बोला मैं रिस्क नहीं लूंगा, मैं 10, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 डालूंगा. लेट्स सपोज एम क्या है? पैसे दुगने हो जाएं. दैट इज द बेसिक एम फॉर एनी इन्वेस्टर. डबल द मनी इन शॉर्टेस्ट पॉसिबल टाइम. वो 6 ओवर में डबल सेंचुरी वाला फंडा जो राहुल, उमेश यादव, ईशान किशन एंड यू कैन से शाहबाज नदीम की एड आती है ना, 6 ओवर में डबल सेंचुरी वाला, वो फंडा है. बट रिमेंबर, आपके 10,000 अगर आपने डाले हैं 20,000 होने के लिए, द बिटकॉइन हैज टू गो फ्रॉम 45,000 to 90,000 US dollars. Is that easy? Is that easy? One Bitcoin, $45,000 means 33,75,000 rupees. 33 lakhs, almost 34 lakhs. Going double. आपके 20,000 के चक्कर में बिटकॉइन $90,000 पे पहुंच जाए. Is that so? Is that easy? फिर उस पर कमीशन भी लगेगी, फिर उस पर टैक्सेशन भी लगेगी, ग्रोथ कितनी आएगी, यू डिसाइड योरसेल्फ. डूब गए तो डूब गए, चल थोड़े डूबे कोई बात नहीं, अपना रिस्क एपेटाइट था, 10-20,000 लगाया, कोई बात नहीं, डबल हो गया, कोई बात. What is this? This is not investing. This is gambling. This is pure gambling. I don't advise such a thing. If I don't advise such a thing, people who are into good time practice, running clinic with a more than decent healthy practice, or having a more than decent work output in their morning in a college or a hospital, wherever they're employed. Some people have a dual scenario, but those who are working, having a good enough practice. Remember, clinic का भी time वही है, market का भी time वही है, 9:15 से 3:30. So if you want to focus on both the things, I am not really sure that you can. But if you want to, you can. If you can do multitasking, which I am not dead against, you want to do, you can. But for a mutual fund investment, you follow the basic rules, which I will be mentioning today. These are the lessons not only for stocks, these are the lessons for mutual funds as well. And for mutual funds, you don't need to time the market. You didn't need a specific muhurat to enter the market. You don't need, for especially the SIP mode. You can do it offline hours only, offline hours as well. In the evening, in the night, when you're free. You don't need to be hooked on to the, you can say, the Sensex in the day, disturbing your patients and OPD. Remember, या वहां पे पैसा grow कर लो या clinic में grow कर लो. It is a personal choice. So one should spend time to read, understand, and analyze. Obviously, no investment should be done on hearsay. I've been telling you many things. Because बहुत सारी events होती है, कंपनी ने डिविडेंड अनाउंस किया, शेयर प्राइस बढ़ गया, कंपनी ने कुछ नहीं किया, तभी शेयर प्राइस कम हो गया. Never know, sometimes these things happen. A state bank share used to be around 420, 430. Dividend announced over 2 weeks back. Oh, sorry, quarter 3 results आए, quarter 2 results, quarter 1 results आए. Share went up to 460. What happened? Now went down to 401, 402. Now again recovering back to 430. Someone like TVS Motor, a lifetime high of 666 approximately, went down to 595. Oh, sorry, was trading at 560, 570, went down to 494.88. And this was all happening when the Sensex was moving from 56,000 to 58,000. In these 2000, market was moving up. The major players, barring the top ones, were going down. Why? Reliance used to be trading around 1800 till a month back. Its lifetime high is 2369, touched in September last year. It touched 2378 or 2384 this Friday. They have been controlling the market. HDFC was struggling to break the 1500 barrier. 1400 कुछ पे पता नहीं कितने महीने से था. Now 1580, 1590. Bajaj, Asian Paints, all those top, they were controlling the market. This is actually being, you can say, from 56 to 58 is a manipulated market. आपका portfolio grow नहीं गया, market grow कर गई. Those who are from the industry, they will recognize this thing. They will understand what I'm saying. Those who are doing trading as well. Why I am able to correlate? Because I am actually waiting for the lifetime highs and selling a few of the things my dad has given me in inheritance. I stopped active trading exactly 1 year before his death in May 2018. He passed away on 30th June 2019. So I stopped active trading with his advice and say, I'm not doing it. I just want to focus on my clinic. In those hours, it becomes very disturbing for me that I'm not doing it. I can't concentrate on two things. So I stopped active trading. But yes, now the market, when it went up, it is actual the time. There are a lot of shares in my mom's name, again inherited from dad, or some of them bought already when he was alive in her name also. Then a few of his coming into my inheritance. So just disposing them off. So I know all these things these days about the highs and the lows of the individual shares as well, because many of these are in my portfolio as well. I'm not concerned about the whole other market, but I'm concerned about the ones which I have in my portfolio. Because I'm not even whatever it is, I'm not interested in buying anymore, because my aim is to exit at whatever time I can say. If the portfolio in the COVID time, my mom's portfolio, for example, it was showing me 13 lakhs. Now the same portfolio is showing me 23 lakhs. So why should I not be booking the profits? It was average 16 to 17 lakhs, went down to 13 in COVID. Now if it is at 23, growing enough, what do I need the money for? Staying invested. If I'm the one to handle it, if I'm the one to manage it, that is the way. So I've given it enough time. COVID is 1.5 years old. The portfolio, yes, अगर मैं आज नहीं करता तो शायद 2 साल में मार्केट और ग्रो करके वो 23 का शायद 30 भी हो जाएगा, 28 भी हो जाएगा, but there is a risk 19 भी आ जाए. I'm not bothered about 23 going to 30. The Sensex will keep on going. Sensex will touch 1 lakh also. Nifty will touch 50,000 also. That will keep on happening. 92 में 4,000 टच किया था हर्षद मेहता के टाइम पे. People say 4,000 is a huge number for a Sensex. Then आज के डेट में 17,000 टच किया. Sorry, 58,000 touch kiya Sensex. From 4 to 58, the journey has been quite a good one in these past 29 years. So avoiding the stock market does not mean preventing the risk, because there are so many things which are actually a part of stock market or dependent upon stock market. So you might lose the money in the stock when the markets are falling, but thinking to avoid investing is another kind of risk. You can say it is like avoiding alcohol for a healthy body, but living a sedentary lifestyle for years. हम अल्कोहल नहीं पीते, नॉनवेज नहीं खाते, कि हमारे को आर्थराइटिस की प्रॉब्लम है, नॉनवेज नहीं खाना, तो व्हाटएवर सेडेंटरी लाइफस्टाइल, लेकिन जिएंगे, एक्सरसाइज नहीं करनी है, सारा दिन चेयर पे बैठे रहते हैं, हिलना नहीं है, कुछ नहीं करना है. So no exercise, no jogging, no work, no all work and no play. It will also make you a dull boy, not only avoiding alcohol. So one habit you are trying to prevent, but the other habit you are not actually, you can say, living on a healthy type. So if your money is not, you can say, a part of your lifestyle in a healthy way, the money is not growing, it is not going to give you happiness in that matter. Whatever amount you earn, that is today. God forbid you have any injury, fracture, illness, any problem in the family, you're not going to clinic. Yes, you may be having associates, but the clinic won't be earning that much as it was when you were there. So you can't be up and all right 365 days a year. You have to have a passive source of income. And that is where I always say money, always make your money earn, always make your more money from your already earned money. Make money your earning son or daughter, whatever you can say. This is the way we actually calculate in this sense. So that is why we say we always have a balanced portfolio consisting of equity, debt, bonds, gold, fixed deposits, whatever. Remember, last year से मैं गोल्ड के बारे में बोल रहा हूं. इस साल मैंने मई में फर्स्ट ट्रांच आया, प्रॉपर गोल्ड का सेशन लिया. पिछला साल एक गोल्ड का पूरा वेबिनार एंड नाउ द 6th ट्रांच. तब जाके आप में से कुछ लोगों ने इन्वेस्ट किया इन द सॉवरेन गोल्ड बॉन्ड्स, which has practically, apart from 8 years of investment, has no risk. And gold has given 32 positive years out of 40. Remember, still, it took you so much time to understand the importance of a sovereign gold bond. And so many of you now message me, sir, 6th tranche mein खरीद लिया, because आपने push किया. This is the thing you need to understand. मैं हर चीज नहीं push कर सकता आपको. मैं आपको push हर चीज नहीं कर सकता. I can only tell you a few things. There are so many videos lying unexposed to many of you on YouTube, done for you only. What is the urgency with me to do a session on a lazy Sunday evening when I missed it yesterday because of a personal reason? Of course, I had to go somewhere. What is the emergency with me on a teacher's day, on a lazy Sunday evening, skipping 1 hour of my family time? Nothing. But yes, I do honor commitments. It was a commitment to do a session. So I just postponed it by 24 hours. So I had to do it. So yes, you need to understand a balanced portfolio is a must for everyone to create wealth and minimize your risk. Insurance ke bare mein, I've taken lot of sessions this time. Journal insurance, critical illness, 3 on health insurance. So I have been forcing you all for term insurance as well. COVID actually brought the importance of health insurance. Pankaj Tripathi, Akshay Kumar to बेचारे बोल बोल के थक गए. But yes, you don't need to be actually forced upon. आपको कौन कितनी बार कितना धक्का मारेगा तब आप चलोगे. Why are we interested in stocks? Because they give us quick money. Why are we interested in bitcoins? Because they give us quick money. We are not interested in a disciplined investment, which gives us a steady flow of income throughout the years. क्यों discipline की आदत नहीं है? In India, discipline is not taught. Discipline मार के सिखाया जाता है. आजकल के बच्चों को तो वो भी नहीं पढ़ता, ना स्कूल में ना घर में. So this is the difference. You need to understand. मैं आपको मार तो सकता नहीं हूँ, मैं तो डांट सकता हूँ, वो भी कभी कभी, वो भी इन ग्रुप. वो भी कुछ लोग बुरा मान जाते हैं. मेरा कोई बेनिफिट नहीं है. आई एम ऑलरेडी हैविंग अ सिक्योर पोर्टफोलियो. आई एम ऑलरेडी हैविंग इट. इट इज फॉर यू टू क्रिएट इट. एंड मेरा आपके क्रिएट करने में मेरा भी कोई बेनिफिट भी नहीं है. तो मेरे को कमीशन नहीं आएगा किसी भी तरह का. रादर आई वुड से कि डायरेक्ट में करो. आपको बैलेंस, आपको खुद को आपका कमीशन बचेगा, आपकी ग्रोथ ज्यादा होगी. So this is the way you need to actually, you can say, invest in whatever you want to. So then sleep is better than greed. If something keeps you up at night, it is not worth investing. As simple as that. So sometimes getting into the market just to make quick money. Most of the people do this because we have lost out on the time. So we will try to make up for the money because of the lost time and try to compensate for that. But if you're doing to go into stocks, futures, options, and trading and other things, you're going to compromise on your clinic money. Yes, if your clinic is not doing good, you're having just about a few patients and you can focus your attention there, go for it. I'm not stopping you. But you're having more than a healthy OPD, more than good enough responsibilities in the morning OPD, please don't. As simple as that. My lines are never shades of gray. Although there are 50 shades of gray, but my lines are either white or black. Although I'm wearing a gray on a Sunday, but there are no lines of gray for me in financial. There is no place for me for emotions in financial life. Either the thing has to work or not work. I can give it a long rope, but even if after that, just because it was bought by my dad, I need to keep hold of it. What is wrong? What is you can say an emotional value in pertaining that? My wife has a salaried account which she started 1 year before our marriage. She got a job. She started working in DPS Ludhiana. She in March 2004. We married in March 2005. So she had a salary account in HDFC. Now it is 2.5 years. She left the job. After 15 years, she left in April 19, before the start of the session in March 19. So she left the job. It's 2.5 years, but the same 2.75% interest giving account is still there. I ask her, why don't you close this account? The IDFC bank is just in the adjoining building, not even 5 meters from HDFC. So नहीं, मेरी इमोशनल वैल्यू है, मेरी डीपीएस की पहली सैलरी यहाँ पे आई थी. मैं उसके मुंह पे नहीं बोल सकता, but I can say it is a crap excuse. There is no place for such emotions. हो गया इमोशन 15 2 2.5 17 साल हो गए, 37 साल तक लेके जाओगे इस इमोशन को. Don't do that. Don't do that. There is no place for emotions in market. कंपनी को आपको पैसे चाहिए, कंपनी आपको ज्यादा डिविडेंड देगी? नहीं देगी. कंपनी आपको हायर शेयर प्राइस देगी अगर आपकी नीड हो, आपके घर में भगवान अगर किसी का ऑपरेशन हो तो आपको देगी? नहीं देगी. तो why are you bothered about such things of emotions in that value? ये मेरा पहला फंड था, ये मेरा पहला स्टॉक था, ये मेरा पहला था. ठीक है, इमोशन कुछ देर के लिए फाइन, बट नॉट ऑलवेज. You need to understand. So market will have its risks and crest and troughs. अगर waves के साथ होते हैं on a seashore, समंदर के किनारे, तो मार्केट में भी bulls and bears होते हैं. Bulls are the ones which we will say धगड़ धगड़, bull जो भागता है, bear भालू जो बैठ जाता है ऐसे कुप्पा बना के. That is the term bulls and bears. स्टॉक मार्केट BSE के बाहर जाओ तो वो BSE के बाहर वो बुल बना हुआ है, रोज मेटल का बुल है, उसको रोज चमकाते हैं साफ करके. So yes, so give priority to your sleep. Always invest in those things which are going to give you a good sleep. Anything which is dangerous, risky, either go by your risk appetite or go by the market trend. So the best is experience is the best teacher for the wise, but experience from others is a better teacher for the wiser. This is the line. Of course, it had to be in the carry home gyan, but I intentionally put it up here because there is a different thing in a carry home gyan. So then the 7th lesson, don't limit yourself to the stock market. Diversification is the name of the game. Mutual funds, bonds, ESEX. I told you there are so many things which are partially or fully related to the market. So don't always go by the stock market. So that is why the title might have been misleading for you. Lessons from a stock market crash. अच्छा stock market हम तो करते ही नहीं है, क्या करना है, हमारे सिर्फ फंड्स ही है हमारे पास, हमारे तो बाकी इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैं. Might be they later see on YouTube, या आप में से कुछ लोग फीडबैक डालेंगे तो they'll come to know, yes, this was not only about the stock market crash. I'm not very good at titles. I will tell you very frankly. So this was a title out of you can say the first impression, because I already taken the session on lessons from COVID-19. You can say learning from COVID-19 crisis. This is a video already on there. But if you listen to that video and this video, you will find 90%, 90% difference. So that is the reason I kept it intentionally this way. Otherwise COVID-19 का बैंड तो हम बहुत बार बजा चुके हैं, उसका ढोल बहुत बार पीट चुके हैं, वो जरूरत नहीं है अपने आपको डिस्कस करने की. But yes, those lessons will also be there and you will get new lessons from there in the form of stock market today. So listen to the bulls and the bears both. To be a successful investor, your greatest strength is to listen to the both sides of an argument. even for an investment decision or even for an otherwise decision in life. What can go right, what can go wrong. So when to book profits, when to cut losses, you need to know that. And then learn to love managing the money. अगर अपने पैसे से प्यार नहीं है, तो why do you expect a advisor to have that love for your money? So people invest in passive investing via, you can say, a few stocks, via maybe passive funds, maybe debt funds, and they expect their wealth to increase over time or overnight rather. That does not happen. It has to be either a big sum or a good sum. You're investing a 2,000 rupees SIP or a 1,000 rupees SIP or maybe 2,000 rupees SIP, 4,000 a month, and you expect crores in your future in the next 10 years. That is not going to happen. You are just putting in 48,000 a year, 50,000 a year at the most. It can turn into a few lakhs. It will never turn into crores. To get the big numbers, you have to put in the big numbers. And for that, discipline is required. And stocks, yes, fundamentally strong stocks, if you can want to hold for a purpose, for a reason, you can. But then stocks, जब crash होते हैं ना, तो बात अलग है. अब market बढ़ रही है, सारा portfolio down था. I gave you the example of TVS, SBI, and a few others. What was the reason? Even JK Cement, I sold it at, you can say, 35.50 last month, and it was trading close to 3,000. Just touched 34 something on Friday. Its lifetime high has been 3,800 or 3,660, I guess. So again, you need to understand, yes, it is a fundamentally strong stock, but yes, my purpose is to get out of the market as soon as I can with the money, because my mother doesn't wish to stay invested. It is her money after all. I'm just the caretaker. So I'm just following her wishes, but then I'm not taking it out blindly. I'm just taking out on the highs only. But as I said before, need to remember, शायद 2 साल बाद वो इससे भी हाई जाएगा. रिलायंस शायद 2 साल बाद, आज 2400 है, शायद 4,000 हो जाएगा. No problem. We need the money right now. We are taking it out. That's the only reason. It's not only about that my mother doesn't wish to stay invested. We need the money also for a part reason. She needs the money for a particular purpose she has thought of. Fine, fair enough. She doesn't want to dip into whatever is invested already. So she wants to exit this phase. Fair enough. We need it. It's not that we are just withdrawing and putting it into our saving banks. No. Because never let your mind play tricks on you. Psychology plays a big part. And trust me, whether you are successful or you are a failure in investing, these fallacies again will be holding you a learn and a unlearn philosophy. We learn, we unlearn, we relearn. This is the philosophy don't we follow in our dentistry also. GV Black dentistry is no longer existent. What we learned in 90s in our college time, I don't think we are doing anything pertaining to that. Almost nil. Not the root canal by that method. Not the composites. Composites were hardly there, and they had a different approach at that time. Not the extractions even at that time. Yes, maybe partially dentures we are doing in a similar way. Partially, I would say, not fully. But these things are changing. So that is where we are unlearning and relearning them. Similarly, stocks which have risen for past 10 years, so they will continue for another climbing seems logical. But who has seen the 2007 and 8 and 2020 eras, not much of this holds good ground. जरूरी नहीं है कि जिसके पास के 10 साल अच्छे थे वो उसके अगले 10 साल भी अच्छे होंगे. There are problems in the company. New people take over. The new people have their own set of policies, which might not be going good with the employees or the shareholders or the market sentiments. Maybe their modus operandi. Ultimately, everybody wants growth, but some ways are out of the box. Some ways are unconventional. Some work, some don't. So if the share has been going good for 10 years, maybe not. Even you can say there is no new head coming in. The old people are sitting over there who have given growth. Maybe now their ideas are getting old. So they are not getting more ways of continuing in the market in the growth pattern. So all those things can play. Then understand the products you are investing in. As I said, Bitcoins, products like Bitcoin are dangerous. And you can say even a quick Google search will reveal these risks. नहीं कुछ होता तो कुछ मामलों में तो हम Google को trust कर सकते हैं ना. So when deciding whether to invest in any product or not, do some research, do your own homework, and understand where they can go wrong. Then stop outsourcing your financial education. Be literate yourself. The stock market crash will change the way many investors think about stocks. क्रैश से पहले उनकी सोच और होती है, स्टॉक क्रैश के बाद कुछ और हो जाती है कि ये अच्छी थी या अच्छी नहीं है इन्वेस्टमेंट, वो धक्का खा के पता लगती है. So any market will have winners and losers, but you would expect the smartest people in finance to actually predict the stock market crash and come out unscathed. 1929 का एक crash जो था, that was predicted by some Robert, I don't remember the full name, in 1926. He had been cribbing, crash आएगा, crash आएगा, crash आएगा, वो 1929 में आ गया. But that doesn't give the credit to that man. वो तो इस वक्त भी हम लोग बहुत सारे उम्मीद कर रहे हैं मार्च से करेक्शन आएगा, करेक्शन आएगा, करेक्शन आएगा. निफ्टी 13,000 से 17,000 पहुंच गया फ्रॉम मार्च टू सितंबर. As I wrote that day, the best thing about this is that the market will have bull phase when we are least expecting it. So you can say these things are going to happen. So then avoid panic and focus on the long term. Panic जो होती है ना, panic selling हो रही होती है, that is where the problem comes. This advice will be there, so it will sound like a cliche कि ये जो सब बोलते हैं कि पैनिक ना करो. जब पैनिक आती है ना तो फिर सब पैनिक में इंडल्ज करते हैं. इट इज लाइक कि मेरे को मीठा नहीं खाना है, मैं मीठा खाने से मोटा हो जाऊंगा, सामने 10 डिशेज रख दो, चल एक खा लेते हैं, एक खा के थोड़ा मोटे हो जाएंगे. वो एक अगर एक ही स्वीट डिश आती तो चाहे हम ना कर देते, 10 आगे तो हम ना नहीं कर सकते. दिस इज प्योर इंटेलिजेंस. सो पैनिक इज लाइक अ इंटेलिजेंस इन दोज थिंग्स. देन एंटिसिपेट इनकम डिसरप्शंस. If a recession does hit, certain income disruptions are a possibility. More than that, more than a remote possibility. अब मार्केट आपकी रिकवर कर गई, कोविड-19 के कारण क्रैश हुआ, 25-26 हजार पे इंडियन मार्केट गया, 8-9 महीने में रिकवर कर गया. डिड द इकोनॉमी रिकवर? नो. 1.5 साल बाद भी पीपल आर स्ट्रगलिंग. सो मेनी पीपल आर स्ट्रगलिंग इवन टिल डेट. Ask the guys who have lost their livelihood because of that. I'm not talking of the daily owners or daily wagers. Forget that for a moment. Yes, they are the most sufferers. स्कूल यूनिफॉर्म बनाने वाले 1.5 साल से बच्चे स्कूल ही नहीं गए. स्कूल वैन बस ड्राइवर जिनके पास और कुछ सोर्स ऑफ इनकम नहीं होता. मैरिज पैलेस ओनर्स जिनको 1000, 1500, 2000 की शादियां करवाने का, इट वाज अ केक वॉक फॉर देम. 20, 30, 50 की गैदरिंग. इमेजिन. रेस्टोरेंट्स, यस, पार्शियल वर्किंग, जोमेटो, स्विगी जिंदाबाद, उनका कुछ ना कुछ चलता रहा. बट दीज आर द पीपल्स हु हैव एक्चुअली, दोज हु आर, you can't say from the lower strata, middle or upper class strata, but they suffered a lot, especially if they didn't have any source of income, other source of income. So मार्केट रिकवर करने का मतलब ये नहीं कि इकोनॉमी रिकवर कर गई, और जब तक इकोनॉमी रिकवर नहीं करती है, chances of a crash are again there. That is why everybody is predicting a crash. नहीं हो रहा because of various reasons. As I say, this is characteristically from 56 to 58,000. Sensex is a characteristically manipulated market. Only a few big players controlling the market. That's it. रिलायंस जब पिछले साल टच कर गया 24, उसके बाद से निफ्टी फ्रॉम 10,000 और यू कैन से 11,000 और 10,000 से 16,000 तक की ग्रोथ फॉर निफ्टी में रिलायंस बीइंग अ टॉप 50 कंपनी, टॉप 10 कंपनी आई वुड से, रादर द नंबर 1 इंडियन कंपनी, उसका रोल नॉट इवन 5% था. कैन यू बिलीव दैट? नो, you won't believe it, but yes, from this the growth has been tremendous. Yes, there are a lot of projects in pipeline. Reliance की बहुत सारे announcements हुई हैं recently. Many things are there. So yes, if you are an employee, layoffs are a real threat. Yes, dentistry में ये चीजें कम हुई हैं. Otherwise, for the normal employees, organizations have resorted to cost cutting to improve the bottom line, of course. And if you are a business owner, we might be experiencing a decline in revenues. People who had multiple staff and a lot of EMIs to be paid, सबसे पहले उन्होंने यही किया कि excess staff को निकालो after the lockdown. This happened. Many clinics are back to normal 100% in terms of income, I would say, not in the number of patients, I mean to say. But some are still not. Some are still working at 60% or 70% of their income. So a crash may come while the profits are rising and are often unforeseen. अभी आजकल में प्रॉफिट्स राइज हो रहे हैं, जब क्रैश आएगा तो सडन ही आएगा. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कल परसों आएगा, बट व्हाट आई ट्राई टू से इज कि ये it comes as unforeseen only, and it comes in the profits are rising, everybody is doing, everybody is happy, मेरा portfolio इतना grow कर गया. That is where they need to understand and have a reality check. So in 1929, corporate profits are going much faster than stock prices. And you can say shares of many leading companies traded at a reasonable valuation by historic standards in US. In 2019, however, it was just different. Before the COVID-19, many companies are already reporting profit declines because of recession. People said, we did not recover from the demonetization mishap. We did not recover from the GST implementation. वो कच्चे का काम बंद हो गया ना, बहुत कम हो गया rather. So then many, you can say, did not anticipate a crash in 1929. Yes, not Robert, it was Roger Babson, who was an economic forecaster who had been telling investors to dump stock since 1926. In this period of 3 years, the Dow Jones, the US index, rose by 150% to its 1929 peak, और peak पे जाके crash हुआ. Imagine. So you can say give the credit to Roger? No. So these are the 15 lessons from the stock market. Of course, the next 15 are also from the stock market, but more so from the 1920, because these were the first 15 were from the historical cases from 1929 to 2012, or maybe 2016. But now from the previous 1.5 years, because history hoti hai important. History is always to, you can say, look forward to, but we need to understand that yes, certain things also play a role otherwise. So yes, avoid a high interest rate debt. Dentists are fond of taking doctor's loan. So doctor loan kuch nahi hota. If you have watched my loan sessions, they're already there on YouTube in 3 parts. Doctor's loan is a sugar-coated personal loan. Almost the slabs of a personal loan give a percent here and there, and usually customizable as per your amount. But you should remember that a personal loan or a credit card loan should be the one which should be the avoided one. Because if you lose a job, or you lose your patients, or you lose your OPD as happened, and you had huge EMIs to pay, who will pay back? And God forbid if something happens to you, disability or anything, you can say wrong, won't name it, but who will be responsible? Who will pay your EMIs? So high interest rate plans are not an option even when you have a regular income. तो आपको जब जॉब नहीं फिर तो वैसे ही वो अच्छा नहीं है ना वो. Then if you're using a credit card, we already discussed a lot on this in the group many times. Spend only as much as you can pay. The first thing is avoid it. Credit card is the worst form of debt you can ever have. So COVID-19 always gave us an idea to save more. We saw it. Our cost of living was not much higher. Our cost of wants was much higher. So pandemic actually has given a lot to cut. Many people cut down on their vacations, on their eating out, going to malls, going for shopping, going for movies. Yes, all those things are now resuming. But in the past 1.5 years, we have cut down a big expenditure on these things. So save this money, because this money will be there coming handy for you when you are going to think of an alternate RIP, retirement investment planning. If you know, this is the term coined by me. So while we get back to, you can say, things before pandemic pe resume ho jaye, people will have all sort of notions. Just a couple of days back, there was a video by Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister. We have booked Pfizer 36 million doses for 2022, 40 million for 2023, and similar number for 2024. Then there was a comment at the end. ये कोविड का ड्रामा अब खत्म नहीं होने वाला है, सरकारें इससे पैसे कमाना बंद नहीं करेंगी, तो कोविड अभी चलेगा, अभी काफी देर तक चलेगा. This is their thought process. If somebody is planning for it, they will say it this way. If they are not doing it, you got an ample time to plan. Where were you? Where were you not planning? If you can point out the finger about this, the COVID-19 example just I gave you recently, why can't a financial advisor or someone like me who's not even a financial advisor, a dentist, one from your community, maybe a little bit more financially equipped than all of you, can point out a finger at you and your finances? Where were you all this while? 5 साल से मैं बोल रहा हूं, 3.5 साल से मेरे ग्रुप चल रहे हैं. आपने अगर अब तक इन्वेस्ट नहीं किया तो क्यों नहीं किया? What question do you have to, what right do you have to ask the government then? If you have not done yourself, what you were asking others? Just an example, don't take it personally. So don't panic. Again, a different thing. We all know the first reaction is always panic. When COVID hit us, we were actually, सब वो रेमडेसिविर इकट्ठी कर लो, ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर इकट्ठे कर लो. दिल्ली में क्राइसिस हुआ तो हर बंदे ने यहाँ पे 3-3 ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर रख लिए. पीपल आज आपके पास है सेंटर में, हमारे पास एक तो होता ही है इमरजेंसी के लिए, यू वैसे ही रखा होता है। नहीं नहीं, 3-4 लेके रख लो, आपको तो ज्यादा जरूरत पड़ेगी। तो मेरे को ज्यादा जरूरत क्यों पड़ेगी? What are the reasons for that? Whatever you might be thinking, pulse oximeters, all those things, they went up the roof. Demand and supply sends the money over the roof, sends the cost over the roof. But did we really need that? लोगों ने 5-5 लाख के रेमडेसिविर लेके इकट्ठे कर लिए इन माई टाउन, नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट दिल्ली। फिर लोग कहते चीज मिलती नहीं है, लोग ब्लैक करते हैं। एक ब्लैक फंगस के केसेस पिछले 20 साल में गिन के 2 या 3 आए होंगे। अगेन क्वेश्चन टू द गवर्नमेंट, व्हाई वर यू नॉट रेडी विद एम्फोटेरिसिन बी? अरे डिमांड ही नहीं है तो गवर्नमेंट प्रोडक्शन क्यों करेगी एम्फोटेरिसिन बी की? दिस इज द थिंग यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड। जस्ट एग्जांपल। सो द सिंपल आंसर फॉर दिस इज ह्यूमन नेचर इज टू एज्यूम द वर्स्ट। इकट्ठा कर लो। आई रिमेंबर मार्च, यू कैन से आई वेंट टू अ हार्डवेयर शॉप, सेड लोहा बहुत महंगा हो गया है, तो दैट इज व्हाई द कॉस्ट, आई गॉन टू बाय द शेल्फ रैक, एल्यूमिनियम बेस्ड शेल्फ रैक। सो ही सेड अब थोड़ा कॉस्ट है, फाइन नो प्रॉब्लम। यू डोंट बिलीव पाजी, गोल्ड 52 टच कर गया, कहते लेके रख लो, बाद में इतने में भी नहीं मिलना। मैं कहा स्टॉक मार्केट ऊपर जा रहा है, गोल्ड तो नीचे जाएगा। नहीं 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 नहीं, आपको नहीं पता। मैं नहीं, इनका इनवर्स रिलेशनशिप होता है कन्वेंशनली ट्रेडिशनली स्पीकिंग, तो ये नीचे जाएगा। एंड दैट गाय मेट मी 2 days बिफोर। मैं गोल्ड लेके रख लिया था, भाई ले लिया, घाटा पै गया, मींस आई एम इन अ लॉस। मैं डिड आई टेल यू भाई थोड़े चरण किथे है, वेयर आर योर फीट, आई वांट टू टच देम। आई सेड don't do that, I'm just giving an example. There is always an inverse relationship between gold and market usually, but the market went up, the market is already in a up phase, the gold has to be in a down phase. That is a normal theory which is applicable. So isn't that exactly how we behave? Panic, sell, the knee jerk reaction is sell sell sell, जो होता प्रॉफिट बुक कर लो। We forget about compounding, we forget about long term, we forget about consolidation, we forget about so many definitions, we forget about Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja also, and then you start selling. But then that is the problem. What comes down has to go up one day. Market volatility is inevitable, especially in times of crisis. So best way is, वो टी शर्ट आती है ना, keep calm and have faith, वो टी शर्ट पहन लिया करो, या शीशे में वहां पे टेप लगा के रख लो क्लिनिक में, या वेयर एवर यू सिट द मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द डे, कीप काम। नहीं है आपके पास फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी, कंसल्ट एन एक्सपर्ट। इफ इट इज अ स्टेट ऑफ अ मेजर कंफ्यूजन, वी लिव इन अ व्हाट्सएप यूनिवर्सिटी, फॉरवर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी, फेसबुक यूनिवर्सिटी, व्हाट्सएप, यू कैन से व्हाट्सएप तो विश्वविद्यालय है और बहुत बड़ा, तो एवरीथिंग यू कैन से इज नॉट ट्रूथ, और आई वुड से 90% ऑफ दैट is a lie most of the times. So step by step, you can say, बीमार कोई होता है ना तो प्रोसीजर ये होता है, कैसे हैं सिम्टम्स, कैसे हैं, टेस्ट कराओ, मॉनिटरिंग करो, डायग्नोसिस एंड ट्रीटमेंट। सो फाइनेंशियल पोर्टफोलियो को भी एक डॉक्टर चाहिए होता है, who will guide you through those phases where you can actually, you can diagnose those things and behave in a particular manner that you should, rather than panic. An expert can always help you compound your money and more clarity to you, more thought process to you. Market जब down जाती है तो that is the time to buy, not to sell. If you are a long term investor, one bottom line of today's session, कुछ मत याद रखना, कैरी होम ज्ञान में बहुत कुछ आएगा, वैसे ये एक लाइन याद रखना, when the markets go down, it is the time to buy if you are a long term investor. So there are a lot of you can say armamentarium available with them in the form of calculations, spreadsheets, goal calculators, research, candles, बहुत कुछ होता है. They can actually tell you lot many things about that. And always trust an expert to guide you better if you can't trust your own knowledge. So a discipline is a must. Should the discipline not be maintained in our investments also, if you are maintaining in personal life? So portfolio's health does depend on it. So if the advisor gives you a plan, ensure that you stick to it and do it without fail. And जब वही होता है ना, do not try to time your entry points. Be a लंबी रेस का घोड़ा. Always average out your investments in the SIP mode. Again, inject diversification so that all weather product बन जाए आपका. Create a balanced one. George Bush ने बोला था, stay the course, stay on course, stay the course, whatever you want to. Then a periodic review, a regular checkup for your portfolio. You can say many things. You can say, हाँ, we can keep obsessing about it. यार देखा सही टाइम पे सही bet लगा ली तेरे भाई ने, तो ये आ गया. Yes, you might have been occasionally lucky. If you're not, if your gamble has paid off, many times it will not be truth always. Remember, the world is on the brink of monumental changes, and your portfolio will remain continually adaptive. For that, you can't always rely on expert. That is the reason you, for a periodic review, you have to be yourself financially literate also. For expert advice, take it, but after monitoring, वो तो करेगा, आपको भी करना है. You have to be literate to question him why he has taken a particular decision. His decision might be flawed or clouded by a certain concept which you are not aware. I was speaking of high value earning savings account since past 5 years. किसी एक्सपर्ट ने नहीं बोला इंडस्ट्री में. अब जब बोलना शुरू किया 6 महीने से सबके इंटरेस्ट भी कम हो गए. I was the first one to say this thing since 2016-17. Nobody believed me. I earned a lot out of it. Nothing wrong with me. लोगों को यही था प्राइवेट बैंक है. आज भी लोगों में यही है, प्राइवेट बैंक है, डूब जाएगा, मत डालो, मत डालो. Your wish. So then the stock market does not reflect the economy. I told you. The stock market recovered to pre-pandemic levels last year in India by November 2020. Globally, from March 23rd, in less than 180 days, 181 days approximately, 6 months, in less than 6 months, not 181 days. It was exactly 181 days, 6 months. So by September, it was trading at a you can say crash levels. But yes, unemployment remains stubbornly high because of the huge number of layoffs, COVID-19 shutdowns. I'll give you an example. My city is one of the selected 17 or 20 smart cities in the budget 2019. So हमारे इतना बुरा हाल है ट्रैफिक का, especially in my area and around my area. Trust me, एक बहुत फेमस बेकरी शॉप है, उसका एक चौक है. चौक में उसके आगे जो जाती है टुवर्ड्स द लेन, उस रोड पे बहुत अच्छी सारी शॉप्स थी. वहां पे एक छोटा सा पिद्दू सा फ्लाईओवर बना रहे हैं. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, उस रोड पे कल न्यूज आई थी कि 7 महीने से वहां पे है 70% shops have closed down, and those who have their own, वो rented थी usually, and those who are there, they just say कि सारा दिन डस्ट ही आते हैं, कस्टमर तो कोई नहीं आते. And we are also planning to close down. So remember, इसमें स्टॉक मार्केट का कोई लेना देना नहीं, उनकी इकोनॉमी में. There are so many other factors which impact small businesses also. So the stock market does not really reflect the economy. You always need to understand that. So it doesn't tell about the struggles of small businesses or the, you can say, unemployed people who can't afford their bills. So what the stock market tells us is that whether investors are optimistic or pessimistic. If you're optimistic, they'll keep on buying. Sensex will keep on going up. If they're pessimistic कि crash होगा, तो वो चीज वो उल्टा हो जाएगा. So over the past year, they have been mostly optimistic. Buying going on. FII आते हैं चले जाते हैं. अब FII ने अब आके buy करना शुरू किया है. Sensex 57 to 58 जब गया है. That is why it is the shortest day. 28, you can say 28 days में Nifty 16 to 17 पहुंच गया. So they believed COVID-19 would be relatively short-lived, which was not. So some stocks actually sold precisely because of pandemic. Infrastructure, pharmacy stocks, all these they actually sold up because of the supply and demand scenario. Then a stock market crash is a normal thing. Share prices will crash. It is what they do and they always will. Yet every time when it happens, हमको shock लगता है. वो क्यों लगता है? People have seen the 1929 Wall Street crash, Black Monday, October 1987, dot-com bubble burst in March 2000 and 2008 financial crisis. But these are only a fraction of the total. मैंने आपको शुरू में लिस्ट दिए 10 के आसपास बताए थे. विकिपीडिया पे देखेंगे तो उसके अलावा 14 और क्रैशेस हैं. Mostly are forgotten. But उस वक्त जब आता है, there is a lot of fear and panic. Does anybody remember the 2011 Eurozone crisis? Or the China-driven meltdown in January 16? Or the sell-off in 3 months to Christmas Eve 2018? No. Even the demonetization-induced one in November 2016 in India. Globally कुछ नहीं हुआ था, इंडिया में हुआ था. Do you remember that? No. छोटे छोटे तो सारे भूल जाते हैं. These are not crashes, these are corrections. जब हो जाती तब पता लगता है क्रैश नहीं था, करेक्शन था. वरना वो हर्षद मेहता स्कैम 92 देखा है आप, मार्केट क्रैश हो गया, मार्केट क्रैश हो गया. दिस इज द फियर एंड फियर स्प्रेड्स पैनिक एंड दैट इज वेयर द प्रॉब्लम कम्स. उसमें सबको एक ही होड़ होती है, जो प्रॉफिट बुक कर सकते हो कर लो, एज इफ द वर्ल्ड इज कमिंग टू एन एंड। अगर वर्ल्ड एंड हो गया तो पैसा बुक करके भी क्या कर लोगे, वर्ल्ड तो खत्म हो जाएगा, पैसे तो साथ जाने नहीं है। और अगर वर्ल्ड खत्म नहीं हो रहा है, ओनली मार्केट क्रैश हो रही है, तो फिर अगर लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर हो फिर काहे की चिंता है। यस, इफ यू आर ओनली इन्वेस्टेड इन स्टॉक मार्केट देन आपके लिए चिंता है। यू नेवर नो विच स्टॉक विल गो अप, विच स्टॉक विल गो डाउन। फंडामेंटली स्ट्रॉन्ग विल गो अप श्योरली। पर अगर आपने बहुत सारे स्मॉल कैप में लगाया हुआ है जो जिनका बेस नहीं है कुछ भी, सिर्फ एक बबल के कारण दे ग्रू अप and only invested in stock market, not other products, then you need to worry. But if you have a balanced portfolio, you really don't need to. वो कहीं ना कहीं से hedge हो जाएगा, balance हो जाएगा. Remember that. So you will lose money only in a crash when you sell. अगर बेचा नहीं तो लॉस का आएगा। पोर्टफोलियो की वैल्यू कम हुई ना, वो ऊपर चले जाएगी। लॉस तो तब हुआ ना जब हाथ में 20,000 का 15,000 आया, और 20 का पोर्टफोलियो में 15 दिख रहा है, 6 महीने बाद शायद वो 21,000 हो जाए, चल ठीक है यार, कॉस्ट तो पूरी हुई, कोई बात, 20 का 21 हो गया, लॉस में तो नहीं है। इफ यू डोंट सेल यू आर नॉट इन अ लॉस, बट इट सीम्स ऑब्वियस इन रेट्रोस्पेक्ट। अगेन, जिनके पास म्यूचुअल फंड्स होते हैं वो क्यों बेचते हैं, मुझे ये समझ आज तक नहीं आई। स्टॉक्स वालों की मुझे समझ आती है। सो मेनी पीपल सोल्ड ऑफ म्यूचुअल फंड्स इन अप्रैल 2020, स्पेशली जिन्होंने मेरे कहने पे लगाए थे। सर आपके कहने पे लगाए थे, 6 महीने में देखो रेड जोन आ गया, तो व्हाट। 6 महीने पहले किसको ये भी नहीं पता कि चाइना में लोग बैट खाएंगे और कोविड-19 होगा। नोबडी न्यू इट इन सितंबर 2018 दैट दिस इज गोइंग टू हैपन। सितंबर 19 आई मीन टू से, सॉरी, कि मार्च 20 में वो आएगा। सो बट इट इज वर्थ रिपीटिंग फॉर द नेक्स्ट टाइम, द मार्केट टैंक्स, डोंट स्टॉप ऑब्सेसिंग ओवर योर रिटायरमेंट अकाउंट्स, स्टे काम, कीप योर मनी इन्वेस्टेड। अगर रहेंगे तो ग्रो ही करेगा। You will miss the best days if you try to avoid the worst ones. If you sell after a crash, you risk missing the best days. How? A JP Morgan case study tells you that 7 of the stock market's best days between January 2000 and April 2020 occurred within 2 weeks of the worst days. Market 2000 पॉइंट नीचे गया, 2700 नीचे गया, ट्रेडिंग बंद हो गई 2 बजे 3 बजे। नहीं भाई, इससे लॉस नहीं बेयर करेंगे, थोड़ा बड़े बहुत बड़ी जब मार्केट इतनी क्रैश करते हैं ना, बीएससी में ट्रेडिंग बंद कर देते हैं 15 मिनट के लिए, आधे घंटे के लिए। ये तो बेड़ा, फिर अगले दिन स्टेटमेंट आएगी 3 लाख करोड़ ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट इन्वेस्टर्स वेल्थ वाइप्ड आउट। जिस दिन ग्रो करता उस दिन कोई नहीं लिखता, बिकॉज नेगेटिविटी स्प्रेड्स फास्टर। सो जब वो 2 दिन 2000 गिरा, अगर एक दिन 2800 स्टॉक, जब बजट आया था इस साल, लगातार 4 दिन 3,000, 2,500, 2,000 के आसपास मार्केट बढ़ी थी, वो तो कोई नहीं लिखता, वो किसी को याद भी नहीं रहते। क्रैश देखो, क्रैश के ऊपर मैं आर्टिकल दे रहा हूं आपको, पूरा सेशन दे रहा हूं। मैंने आपको ग्रोथ के ऊपर दिया सेशन नहीं, बिकॉज क्रैश याद रहता है, ग्रोथ याद नहीं रहती। ग्रोथ में तो हमारी रिकवरी हुई ना। तो जो अब आपकी जनवरी से सितंबर तक हो रही, वो क्या है? विद अ स्लाइट करेक्शन इन अगस्त, स्लाइट इन मार्च, स्लाइट इन अप्रैल दिस ईयर, स्लाइट केप्ट ऑन हैपनिंग। अभी जो है आपका फंड प्राइसेस आर एट देयर बेस्ट लेवल्स। 3 अगस्त को बेस्ट थे, करेक्शन होते रही पूरा अगस्त, लेकिन अगस्त एंड होते होते रिकवरी हुई, ऊपर गया। इस वक्त ऑलमोस्ट ऑल फंड्स 3 सितंबर फ्राइडे एंडिंग आर एट देयर ऑल टाइम बेस्ट प्राइसेस। फिर nobody bothers about that. So missing the best days is a big disaster for you, for your investments, than experiencing a few more bad days. So a stock market crash can be a huge opportunity. So it is like a Black Friday sale, कि जब आपको चीजें 30% ऑफ, 50% ऑफ पे मिलेंगी, आप इसको शॉपिंग की तरह यूज कीजिए। डू नॉट यूज इट लाइक अ, यू कैन से, अ मोर्निंग फिनोमिनन। डोंट मोर्न ओवर द लॉसेस। इफ यू आर लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर, बाय, नई स्टॉक्स लेते, अंडरस्टूड। फंड प्राइसेस आए नीचे, ओपन एंडेड बहुत सारे म्यूचुअल फंड होते हैं, टेक्निकली स्ट्रांग है, उनको बाय कीजिए। एएमएफआई जाके उनका रिकॉर्ड देखिए कितने ऊपर गए हैं आज तक। प्रॉब्लम इज कि वो सिंड्रेला और उसका वाला ना क्रिस्टल बॉल नहीं है हमारे पास, वो जादू का गोला जो होता है घूम के बताता है हम जिससे फ्यूचर प्रेडिक्ट कर सकें। वी डोंट हैव अ क्रिस्टल बॉल। सो व्हेन यू इन्वेस्ट आफ्टर क्रैश, यू हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर फॉर द पॉसिबिलिटी कि ये और नीचे जा सकता है। पीपल कीप ऑन आस्किंग, सर व्हाट इज योर एक्सपेक्टेशन टू बॉटम आउट? कब तक बॉटम आउट होगा या कितने पे बॉटम आउट होगा? मैं एक ही आंसर देता हूं, 2 individuals, God and liar, can predict it. Not even Rakesh Jhunjhunwala can, or a Warren Buffett can predict it. So if you get the answer now, Don't ask me this question in future. मैं उनके मुकाबले में तो उनका नाखून भी नहीं हूँ. So, but that doesn't matter if you're investing for the long term. You need to be prepared for those things. Then FOMO is a real fear. People are not scared by the stock market crash. They're actually by the FOMO. Last year इतनी apps ने growth ली ना, जो बहुत सारी apps आ रही हैं अब, not to name here, of course then it'll become a biased one. One of them is very much promoting itself कि escalator चढ़ने जितना easy है stocks buy करना. So when investing, a crash is a great opportunity, but some investments are risky. So always do a stimulus check. Yeah, just because कि एक शेयर का प्राइस ऊपर जा रहा है, फंडामेंटली स्ट्रांग है कि नहीं है, वो नहीं बॉदर करना, but keep on buying it. Don't do that. So recoveries are inevitable. We just don't know when. ऊपर तो जाना है. What goes down goes up. This is the rule of life. So the market has recovered from a single crash, every single crash. The trouble is कितने दिनों में होगी वो पता नहीं. COVID-19 recovery happened in 181 days. It was the fastest on record. It took around 6 years for the 1929 recession also, or for the October 2007 recession also. तो 6 साल लगे 7-8 वाले हाउसिंग वाले क्राइसिस को रिकवर होते होते. So then there is a great time. This is a great time to get greedy. जब नीचे आया तो ब्लैक फ्राइडे सेल है, ले लो. Buy it, especially if you are dealing in mutual funds ले लो. Anything else you feel it is down, ले लो. Stocks नहीं करना चाहते, जो रेगुलर ट्रेडिंग नहीं करते हैं, मत लो, कोई बात. म्यूचुअल फंड के लिए आपको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, कोई डीमैट अकाउंट भी नहीं चाहिए. चाहिए भी तो आजकल ऑनलाइन 2 बहुत फेमस प्लेटफॉर्म्स उन पे खुल जाता है. Again, won't name them because of the bias, of course. So history shows that crash is like one of a great buying opportunity if you are bold enough to take it. So Black Monday in 1987 October was one of the biggest one-day crash of all times. सबसे बड़ा ड्रॉप जो हुआ था 1929 से भी ज्यादा 1987 में हुआ. Asia, Europe suffered up to 23% loss in 24 hours. 25% मार्केट उड़ गई एक दिन में, single day loss. So it took 2 years to recover those losses, and thereafter the indices grow by average 14.7 a year for the next 5 years. 2 साल में वो कवर हुआ 12% एवरेज, जस्ट टू एक्सप्लेन यू. फिर अगले साल वो 14 पे ग्रो किया. फेयर इनफ. व्हाट इज द लॉस? स्टिल अगर एवरेज देखेंगे तो आपकी तो यू कैन से 70 डिवाइडेड बाय 7, 10% एवरेज तो फिर भी आ गई ना आपकी, मोर देन 10. सो those who held on to those turbulences came out on top. So make sure any decisions you take is with your attitude to risk. Then bear markets can last longer than you think. Sometimes the recovery may not be V-shaped. In India, we had a V-shaped recovery, even in globally in the COVID-19, because the world is still not over fully from lockdown. Less dramatic U-shape, bumpy W-shape, or L-shape flat line, or exactly V-shape. You never know. But on average, अगर market 20% crash होती है, it takes roughly 536 days to recover, which is roughly 1.5 years. Which means the average return तो फिर भी आपकी आ रही है ना 14% के आसपास, 13-14% के आसपास. तभी वो रिकवर करेगी ना. Just to explain you this phenomenon. So once again, investing for long term is important, and being patient. So you should not invest any money in stock market that you are likely to need in the next 5 years. 5 years is the long-term span horizon. So avoid the full force of bear market. Always have a diversified portfolio. Debt में हो, funds में हो, cash में हो, gold में हो, bonds में हो, shares में हो. अगर आप चाहते हैं shares में trading करना चाहते हैं, but it should not only be in equity mutual funds. That is what I mean to say. So the shock लगा जो लगना ना वो कम लगे comparatively. So in many aspects, all crashes are unprecedented, but we have been there, done there. So we should learn from the lessons of the past. So it is a lazy Sunday. I hope the 30 takeaways are not too much of gyan for you, and I won't come into your Sunday evening meal and your family time. But yes, let me just wind up the session next 5-10 minutes or so. So this is the summary for today. It should not be actually wreaking havoc on you. So 58% respondents completely changed how they think about the money due to pandemic. 56% agree that the concept of financial well-being has changed in the pandemic. Are you amongst the 44 or the 42? You need to answer yourself. So about 1.5 years ago, stock market was crashing, and who can honestly say they were not panicked? Many of us were, because it was an anxiety-inducing enough. You can say pandemic, lockdown, record job losses in the mix. There are a lot of things happened good because of COVID, but a lot of bad things as well, especially the mortalities. So the 2020 meltdown globally began on March 9. The bloodbath continued for 2 weeks till 23rd March. In India, और one third वो गिर गया था. इंडिया में थोड़ा लंबा चला. इंडिया में till second week or mid of April तक चला. But the recovery was V-shaped in stock market, not economy wise. Economy में अभी भी depression है. We all know that. There are a lot of job losses. There is a lot of less prevalent cash in the market in that sense. But the market was almost back to normal 8 to 9 months in October, November. So let me give you another few summarized lessons, 5 few summarizing lessons on what that crash actually taught us. So lesson 1, don't fall prey to selling your investments in a panic. Remember the difference between a notional loss and a realized loss. Notional loss is only on paper. A realized loss is when you sell. तो मैंने जैसे बोला लॉस तब तक नहीं होगा आपको एक्चुअल में जब तक आप सेल नहीं करते. Then your SIP investments after analyzing the should be after the analyzing the fundamentals of underlying securities. कि फंड हाउस ने किस में इन्वेस्ट किया है, उसके AUM कितना है, फंड मैनेजर कौन है, क्राइसिल रैंक कितना है, उसका रिस्क फैक्टर रिस्कोमीटर कितना है. Understand those things. A lot of these things are discussed in my mutual fund articles in detail. Mutual fund की series है proper. So lot of articles, if you are fond of reading, you can read them. They are all on the website. So ensure that you are investing in fundamentally strong securities. Then lesson number 3, avoid the urge to invest in a lump sum because it increases the risk of losses by choosing wrong investments. So rather have a slow and a steady approach. We want to make up for the lost time, and that is where we commit a mistake. So lesson number 4, you will feel the urge to speculate. कि जैसे आप छोटे small लड़के झुंझुन वाला बन गए हैं. Don't try to do that. Leave that to him. Leave that to Warren Buffett. Don't try to become one. They have loads and years of experience behind what they predict and speculate. They are the controllers of the market. You are not. So अगर एक आधा तुक्का लग गया तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप मार्केट के झुंझुन वाला बन गए हो या बच्चन बन गए हो, BSc का बच्चन. So don't do that. Stick with the basics of investment. Historically, markets have always recovered from crashes and bounced back higher and stronger. ऊपर जाएगा ही जाएगा. सेंसेक्स शायद 3 साल में 4 साल में 1 लाख पे पहुंचेगा. Whatever time, just praying. So look at the long term and adjust your portfolio accordingly. The title of today's presentation, Volatility, is the inherent nature of the market. Crashes and rallies are part of it. Just like crests and troughs are part of a wave, crashes and rallies are part of it. Also, when faced with a difficult situation, turn to history. History से lesson बहुत मिलते हैं, हर एक को मिलते हैं, तो आपको भी मिल सकते हैं. So as far as we can see, the best way to survive stock market crashes is by assessing your portfolio and holding on to good stocks. Have a long-term view. And yes, वो T-shirt खरीद लेना मिल जाते हैं Amazon पे. Stay calm and safe. So summary for today: saving is very important. Sometimes $50,000 or 50,000 rupees is not enough for a month. Discretionary spending adds up. Fees really doesn't matter, and perks aren't that important. Of course, the US-based lessons. So carry home gyan for today. The old adage in investing is that trees don't grow to the sky. They have a limit. The next bear market is inevitable, but when it starts, how long will it last? How deeply it will go? Anybody can't predict it. So there is no way to know how long the current carnage will continue when it comes high or low, both ways. So nor is there any way to know how deep the next recession will be. In fact, if it is one certain to arrive, we all are expecting it, of course. So what you should do, everything is that you can maintain your career, business and income, as well as your portfolio for the next leg up. That are you prepared? My previous session on lessons from coronavirus epidemic gives you all those lessons, how you can be prepared for your clinic also. Both the clinic wise and the finance wise, two separate videos. You can search lessons from the coronavirus epidemic or financial lessons from the coronavirus epidemic. You can search on that. So life is a great teacher. You can draw so many learnings from some of the worst experiences in life. और बुरी चीज से हम अच्छा ज्यादा सीखते हैं. So if you're going through something bad, be rest assured that you will come out of it wiser. So moral of the whole story is respect your hard-earned money, use it wisely. Hold a respectable emergency fund. A lesson which I had given in the previous session of lessons from COVID-19. Pay attention to asset allocation. I've detailed a lot of it in the FIJ series, Financial Investment Journey, which I took up recently in 4 parts. Again, those videos are there on YouTube. Then optimally diversify the investment portfolio. So you can obviously not stay invested only in equity. You have to, you can say, indulge in everything, which never put by not putting all eggs in one basket. Then holding an optimal insurance. Again, a lesson from the previous one. I intentionally missed a few lessons out of these because these were already covered in that. My title was Stock Market Crash. So I had to muddle and mix with the mutual funds and the other investments and the stocks to give you the combined 30 plus 5, 35 lessons, which I've given you. So thank you so much for a patient hearing. So just before I stop my share, this is my YouTube channel link. If you're not aware of it, you can subscribe to the channel, go to YouTube. This is the channel link. Otherwise, all my social media presence is by my name only, Dr. Bhavdeep. So you can, otherwise, if you forget, search my name and you will find the channel. As on 31st August, 375 videos are already there. So this video goes on YouTube about a month later. So this is my KYC email website. You all are aware of it by now. So my social media presence, except my page, is in my name only, Dr. Bhavdeep. So the page is by Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja. So I run 2 WhatsApp groups. So many of you are already in there. So if you want to add any friend into that, so the 6th group is already on. So even that is reaching almost 50% of its strength. So you can message me in my personal number. So I'll value your feedback in the WhatsApp group wherever you are. So bookers and brickbats both would be welcome in equal measure. So thank you once again for sparing your Sunday on a Teacher's Day. So I'll stop my share for the questions from all of you. And I will take up the first few ones from the chat. I will have unmuted all of you. So you can unmute and ask after I'm done with the chat questions first. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Visible, audible. Yes. Okay, no problem, Dr. Mugda. You had to leave, no problem. Thank you, Rakesh ji. Thank you, Dr. Prayan. So Dr. Rajesh asks, where would you invest if you sell all your stocks? Sir, I told there is something committed by my mom for a different purpose. That is the reason I'm selling the stock. I just have about 25% or rather less than that. My mom holds the major, you can say, chunk of that. So I'm honoring just her wish only. So that is the only reason. Otherwise, we have a portfolio already there. So Dr. Divya, thank you. Happy Teachers Day to you as well. So yes, Dr. Bhavna, thank you. Dr. Sabyasachi asks, what would be the frequency of portfolio review? Minimum 3 months, or any crash or any surge that happens. I'll keep monitoring it, of course. I monitor it on a daily basis, at least 15-20 minutes every early morning, as I've given many times. But otherwise, if you are a laid back investor, at least three months is the standard time you should be reviewing it, or any crash or any sudden surge or sudden crash, anything that happens, you should be there. So Dr. Divya, sir, you said if you're a long-term investor, when market crashes, use it like a Black Friday sale and buy instead. What about people invest for short-term goals? What should they do? They should immediately switch their portfolio to debt. They should rebalance their portfolio accordingly. Because even a short-term investor should be investing for 3 to 5 years, I would believe that. 5 years is not a long-term thing. 5 years, we still count in a medium, maybe a short-term only. If something you have bought crashes in the first year itself, that does not mean you withdraw immediately. So you still have 4 years to grow for, even for the short term. And I believe we are not expecting a huge return. Otherwise, of course, if it gives, it's a welcome one. If we have invested for a short term, we are looking at certain, you can say 40 to 50% growth, if not 100% in that time. Accordingly, our investment, whatever it is in the market. So minimum 40 to 50 we are expecting. So 4 years is a good time to give to that. But if that happens in the middle phase, 3rd year or the 4th year, then you can easily switch it or rebalance your portfolio. So that is the best way you can do that. Thank you, Dr. Raghu. Thank you, Dr. Gul. Thank you, Dr. Rohit. Thank you, Dr. Ramchandra. Dr. Rajni asks, I want to give my equity as my inheritance to my kids. I mean, I don't want money for me in my lifetime. What do you suggest? Fair enough. My dad also believed in that equity, and his progeny, that is me, had already invested on behalf of the whole family. Rather, I would say whatever portfolio for my family is existent right now has been designed by me only, totally. My dad's portfolio was reworked in 2017 itself, so that has been designed by me only. So he was happy with that. So my dad was more of a consolidator. He rarely sold. I just saw him selling maybe a few shares here and there. Maximum, you can say, I've seen him sell 200 shares. 25 iske, 50 iske, 50, 75 iske. Like that, I've never seen him sell more than 2000 shares. And मैं पिछले एक हफ्ते में 8700 तो ट्राइडेंट के बेच चुका हूँ. तो कुछ रिलायंस के बेच चुका हूँ, कुछ जेके सीमेंट के बेच चुका हूँ, बहुत सारे बेच चुका हूँ. इन दैट से कुछ एसबीआई के बेच चुका हूँ. So whatever, I'm booking profit as and when I can. But yes, if you want your progenies to inherit yours, make sure the nominations are in place, and make sure they know the procedure. They need to open up a demat account, and as per the nomination, the same would be inherited in their demat account automatically if the same exists in your account or in your demat account. And make sure you teach them how to operate those equities as well. So thank you, Dr. Rajani. Dr. Raghu's take-home point is keep investing regularly in mutual fund, and when market is low, it is not the time to withdraw and to or sell, but to buy. Yes, indeed. You got the message right, Dr. Raghu. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Divya. Thank you, Dr. Raghu. And you were the one who said, मैं बाकी सारे session attend करूँगा, stock market वाला नहीं attend करूँगा. I hope you got a good one, Dr. Raghu. Now, again, it was on a Sunday that maybe you had time to learn through it. Otherwise, maybe you also would have missed it.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yep. Any more queries? Anyone wants to ask anything can unmute and ask.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Good evening.
Good evening, Sabyasachi. Follow.
Sir, as you have suggested to shift from equity to debt in case of any crash or any surge, basically in the crash also actually. Would you please elaborate a bit more?
स्विच करना है बॉस, इक्विटी से डेट में कर लिया, इसमें क्या एलैबोरेट करूंगा?
मतलब म्यूचुअल फंड में क्या? और
म्यूचुअल फंड की बात ही कर रहा हूँ मैं तो म्यूचुअल फंड की बात कर रहा हूँ. स्टॉक में कुछ नहीं होता है, स्टॉक की अलग सिस्टम है. स्टॉक में इक्विटी डेट नहीं होता है, स्टॉक में तो
नहीं, वही तो सही.
नहीं, उसमें नहीं है कुछ, उसमें कुछ नहीं.
मतलब इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड से डेट म्यूचुअल फंड में जाना है.
हाँ, एटलीस्ट आपका मनी इज सेफ ना, जितना ग्रो किया हुआ है. गिव द एग्जांपल 18,000 17,000.
यस.
10 to 18, 10 to 18 to 17, 11, 12. I gave that example.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, any more queries? Or we call it a day? Chalo, okay then. Guys, take care. Enjoy your day. Have a great day and a great weekend coming up. Great week, coming up. Don't have any Monday blues tomorrow, and start your week on a happy note and on a optimistic note. If the market crashes, nothing to be fear of. And again, please do post your feedback in the WhatsApp group wherever you are. Whatever you wish to, if there are any learnings or not or whatever, you can please feel free to post. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Good night.